Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great day today and welcome again to the New Sage channel. In this video I'm going to be talking about the third major symbiote in the Marvel Universe. This symbiote goes by the name of Toxin. Now Toxin bonded to Patrick Mulligan, and that was his first appearance in the Venom Carnage issue number 1 in September of 2004. And he appeared as Toxin in the Venom Carnage issue number 2 of October 2004 as Eddie Brock. You see, after Patrick passed away, Eddie Brock took over as Toxin. He was kind of a Venom-Toxin combo or hybrid type of thing going on. Now, of course, since Toxin is a symbiote of the Klyntar alien race, he has some of the same abilities as his two predecessors. He can stick to walls, which originally came from when Spider-Man was a host for Venom, and then he can also change his identity to that of a completely different person, and also has unlimited webbing. With Patrick Mulligan as the host, the suit is often red from the abdomen up and black from the abdomen down. When Eddie Brock is the host, it resembles a combination of Venom and Carnage, but with the entire body being red or light red on his chest, and dark on the arms and somewhat lower on the body as well. Now, Toxin can also blend in with his surroundings and become undetectable, which is an ability he gained from his grandfather, Venom. And he can also form solid weapons with his limbs, an ability first seen in his father, Carnage. Now, Toxin also seems to have sort of a quick healing ability like his predecessors, and his wounds from his first battle with Razor Fist healed very, very quickly. Unlike the others, though, Toxin can track anyone, not just other symbiotes or symbiote hosts. Now, unlike many of the other symbiotes, Toxin does not try to take over the mind of his human host. Instead, the symbiote actually thinks and voices its opinion to the human host, which is evidenced in Toxin's cut-to-the-chase storyline. Now, the symbiote usually speaks when the host is in its human form and acts very immature and childlike because of its adolescent existence, once refusing to aid Pat in battle until he apologized for an earlier argument. In addition, he seems to have a stronger resistance to sonics and intense heat compared to Carnage, though this doesn't mean that he's more resistant to violent urges. It can get carried away with violence and fighting crime, even if it's a petty crime at times. When he's not angry or fighting, Toxin is slim and smooth-lined, although still well-muscled, closely resembling Carnage or Spider-Man in his symbiote costume. But when he becomes upset or aggressive, he grows into this much bigger and stronger form, similar to Venom, with vicious fangs and long curving claws. The symbiote recently developed a venomous bite after bonding to Eddie Brock. Now, after the birth of his quote-unquote son, Carnage felt too weak to kill his newborn. This is due in part to his attempt to repress the birth after burying himself. But since he could not kill his newborn, he implanted it into Patrick Mulligan and fled, intending to kill him later and destroy the new symbiote when he was up to strength. Before being implanted with the Klyntar symbiote, Mulligan was one of New York's finest cops, yet troubled with various personal problems. His stressful job, along with the strain of his new family, were taking their toll on him. But one night while he was on duty, he came across the site where Carnage was giving birth to the new symbiote. Carnage needed a host to hide the symbiote to keep it from Venom, so he bonded it to Mulligan. Now, Carnage had resolved to kill both Mulligan and the symbiote since they weren't quite yet strong enough to manifest a superpowered costume like Venom and Carnage. Venom still hoped to use this new symbiote as a partner and fought Carnage to a standstill to protect Mulligan and the symbiote, whom he christened Toxin after himself. At first, Mulligan didn't realize what had happened to him, but before long, the Toxin symbiote had matured enough to gain both conscious thought and the strength to form a symbiote costume on Mulligan's body. After Carnage attacked Gina and Edward at their home, Mulligan realized the symbiote was a danger to both himself and his family. During a follow-up confrontation between Venom, Carnage, and Toxin, Venom realized Mulligan was dedicated to a life of virtue, or as close as he could come under the symbiote's influence. When it became clear that Toxin was easily as strong as either of his predecessors and was still growing, Venom and Carnage formed a temporary pact to destroy him. Now, this is when Spider-Man stumbled into the final confrontation among the symbiotes, and he helped Toxin. After they fended off Venom and Carnage, Toxin had a conversation with Spider-Man, filling him in on what had happened to him. Spider-Man encouraged him, and Toxin resigned himself to a life of battling with his base symbiote urges while trying to harness his power for good. While they were still learning each other, at one point, trying to live with Toxin became too much for Mulligan, who attempted suicide by throwing himself in front of a train. The Toxin symbiote intervened at the last moment, saving Mulligan and claiming that Mulligan didn't really want to die. When Mulligan pressed the issue, it became clear that, unlike the Venom and Carnage symbiotes, Toxin is not sure it could survive on its own and find a new host. Mulligan and the symbiote cooperate peacefully now, with an agreement. Mulligan will be in complete control of the symbiote if he allows Toxin 2 hours of quote-unquote playtime each night. However, in those 2 hours, Toxin is not allowed to commit any acts of grand theft, arson, or homicide. So, no killing for Toxin during playtime, right? Now, like I stated earlier, there is a point that Pat Mulligan dies, and it's then that Eddie Brock, as Agent Venom, actually takes on the Toxin symbiote to himself, becoming somewhat of a hybrid between Venom and Toxin. Now, due to his powers and abilities and his influence on the Marvel Universe, my 1 to 10 rating on Toxin will be a 5, which is a rating of enigmatic. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe to The New Sage.